Hello everybody. Today I wanted to look at the X47 A5 week on 2 pages classic calendar insert for 2023. Now, if you've watched some of my other videos, you'll know that I'm getting frustrated with the ring system, especially in terms of the amount of writable surface that you have on the paper in them, and I'm not using them really to their full extent. So I wanted to experiment with these X47 book by book systems. So I decided to try for next year to use the X47 insert, calendar insert. Up to now I have always designed and printed my own calendar insert, so having to rely on somebody else's layout, which is really a disadvantage of a book by book system, but having to rely on somebody else's layout is going to be a bit of a shock for me. So I wanted to have a look at the way this has been laid out. In some respects it's okay, in other respects it's very frustrating. As well as being a little bit frustrated with rings, I can't allow a folder as beautiful as this to go unused, and so that is the one I want to use for next year to see if I can integrate it into my processes. I have reviewed this folder before, and I'll put a link to the review in the description below. And also I wanted to make use of the landscape layout, which is very rare. As far as I know, only X47 do this, and I have found that it fits really nicely behind my keyboard, or sometimes if I need to write things into it in front of my keyboard. But it's just a good use of desk space, which I wish other companies would adopt. So I wanted to try this out to see if I could get it to work for me. Now, as I said, the disadvantage of these systems is you're stuck with their layouts. When they print a layout, you have to use it, and that's the same of course for any system except a ring system where you can't print your own inserts. But in this particular case we have an added disadvantage, because this is a minor, this landscape version is a minor part of the X47 range. Their main range is the normal portrait layouts like this one, a normal A5 portrait layout. So in the A5 versions, they have, for diaries, they have 10 different diary layouts. So you have a pretty decent choice about finding one that is going to fit your needs. But the landscape version unfortunately only has one single layout choice. So it's either this or nothing. So it had to be this in this case. Now I'm just going to unclip this so that I can show you properly. And we can have a look and see. There we are. I'll put this beauty away, and then we just got the insert, actually 2 inserts, because it comes January to June and July to December. And the reason is because in this system, these spindles that hold the booklets in place, they can't hold a huge amount of weight. They're very good. They hold very well what they're designed to hold, but anything heavier than something that this size simply it will simply strain too much the system. So they put it in two different booklets, months 1 to 6, months 7 to 12. This costs €45.90. It is not cheap. None of their system is cheap. The cover, you have 18 different colors to choose from. I chose red. This is my choice, so it costs a little bit more if you choose any color other than black. So as I said, this is the only layout. So let's have a look at this layout. I've got the camera very close this time, so you can see the details on the pages rather than the whole layout, but you can get the idea. It's A5 on its side. The front, the whole system relies on compactness. So these systems don't have a lot of stuff in them that you do not need. So we simply start with the cover page, and on the first page of both booklets you have this year's calendar, as well as information about the company, and on the final page you have next year's 2024 and some doodle space, whatever, yearly to-dos for next year. All of the rest of the diary is given over to the week on one page. Excuse me, I am lying. At the front we also have these to-do list, but then all of the rest of the diary is about this layout. And this is really the layout I was going to talk about. So it is a week on 2 pages, as you can see. We have a space for notes here, and we have this layout at the bottom, which I really do not like at all, and I'm going to come back to that later because it drives me loopy. A good point about the layout is Sundays are given the same amount of space as every other day, as it should be. We should not be assuming that people do not have things to do on Sundays. But first thing that drives me up the wall, every single Sunday is shown in red as if it is a holiday. This is presumptuous and arrogant. It assumes that all of these people are, all people using this system are executives. They only work 9 to 5. They're all Christians. Nobody works on a Sunday. This is absolute rubbish. It really gets up my nose. Apart from being unnecessary, because everybody can see that the right hand day on every single week is a Sunday. You do not need it pointed out to you. It is simply not practical, because when there is a holiday on a Sunday, as this case, for example, this Sunday is Christmas Day, so it is a holiday as well as a Sunday, you cannot distinguish it between being a holiday and being a Sunday, because they're all shown in exactly the same way. I live in Germany. Germany is 100 years behind the times in some respects. I really wish that they would step back and have a look at this stuff, because it's just simply not true anymore that people don't work on Sundays. This needs overhauling, and I don't know if X47 ever watch any of my videos. Probably not, because they're not really comfortable in English. But I do wish they'd give some thought to their layout in this respect. This really annoys me, but okay, maybe that's just me. Let's get to the layout. So this is the current calendar month. This is the current calendar week. This is the current calendar year. And then on this side again, the current calendar month. They have a quite clever, because as I said, compactness is what they do. So they have a decent way of showing holidays, which is they will show the abbreviations, the car number plate, actually it is abbreviations for certain countries where the holiday is, without actually mentioning the holiday. And then above the dates here, they will explain in certain languages the name of the holiday, so you know what it is without it using any space in the day. That's a good idea. I should say that I don't know their list of which countries they support in terms of which holidays. I noticed that they don't include China, which for me is a small problem because I have colleagues in China, so I'm going to have to write all of those in. But again, this is the disadvantage of using somebody else's system. So for each day we have the dates, and then we have the day in 4 languages. This is another point where it gets weird. We have Montag, that's German; Monday, that's English; that's Italian; that's French. That's fine. So we've got 4 languages. But if you look at the next week, you will find we have German, English, but then we have Spanish, and then we have Japanese. So every other week has English and German and French and Italian, and every alternative week beyond that has German and English and Spanish and Japanese. I know I'm absolutely in favor of using multiple languages, absolutely 100%, but using them alternative pages, I don't really get that. And also, they have not used the languages in the same order here. So they have German and below it English. Here they have German and to the right English, and then Spanish, and then Japanese. So the pattern of the languages is different here than here. I think this is just a little bit sloppy. I don't know why they did this. This is a company that has attention to detail, but in this case, that doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. Also, they have in these, let me find it here, they have in this top line of each day, and I don't know if you can see that, they have the phases of the moon, so full moon and no moon. In the first 6 months, this information, this month and year, is in grey. In the second half of the year, this information is in red. This is not for your benefit, this is for their benefit when they're packaging, because they can see very easily that they have first 6 months, last 6 months. So they can make sure they're not sending people to the same 6 month period, or it simply makes it quicker. They don't have to open everything up to check it. So that's for them, not for us, and they admit that in their videos. Okay, now the layouts. Let me just try and explain this line at the bottom, because the man who develops this system, he has a way of working, and I'm not going to knock his way of working because it works for him. I don't think it works for anybody else, frankly. He admits that every day he gets up, he makes a coffee, and he spends 10 minutes configuring his diary for the day ahead. For me, that is 10 wasted minutes, because your diary should be telling you what to do and not vice versa. Everything should already be in the right place before the start of the day. You shouldn't be looking at here and looking here and looking here and looking at different notebooks, trying to find out what you're supposed to be doing. Everything should be there already. In this particular system, he gives you 5 lines and 3 boxes here, which he suggests you use for, now let me look at this. I can't find it. Why didn't I make a note of that? Okay, so yes, so the first column he intends to show importance, A, B, C, D, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next column he suggests you use for time required to complete, and then the next one is the type of to do, or the type of next action. For me, this is wasted space. This is, even though this is a week on 2 pages, this is not a weekly planner, this is a daily planner. And if you want a weekly planner, you would have a completely different layout. I also don't believe that most people have tasks that have to be done sometime during a week. Even if you do have things that have to be done sometime during a week, you will tend to put them on the day when it's easiest for you to do that task. So for example, most tasks have to be done on a day: putting out the rubbish, sending an invoice, somebody's birthday, all of this stuff, it's fixed to a day, if not a time. There may be things you do every week. For example, buy somebody a birthday present. You could put this, oh, I don't know when I'm going to buy it, and you could put this as a weekly to do, but this is uncommon. There's not many of these. And the way I work, I would say, if I know I'm going to have time on a particular day and I'm going to be in the right place to do the task, I will put it on that day. So if on Tuesday of this week, for example, I'm going to be in the city near the department store where I can buy a birthday present. That's when I'm going to put this task. I don't want to put it on sometime during the week because I'll simply forget it. When I'm working concentrated on the day. I am not trying to pick information out from other things. This is what's important, and this is the only thing that's important. So this, to me, is entirely wasted space. Fair enough, it works for some people, and I wouldn't mind if it weren't for the fact that he doesn't leave enough space for each day to put in undated tasks. So what do? They start the timings each day at 7 o'clock and they finish them at 9 o'clock in the evening. That means that you have theoretically 2 lines, but in fact you don't have 2 lines because you have a line that shows you holiday days and the status of the moon. You have 1 line to put in any appointments you may have before 7 o'clock. And again, this is the assumption that nobody works before 7 o'clock, which isn't true. And after 9 o'clock at night, you have no space at all. Yeah, you'd have to start writing in this space, which isn't intended for this. I'm a person who likes to fence off parts of my diary. This is where I write, this is where I don't write. This upsets my sense of proportion if I'm going to have to be writing on places where it's not intended. That's just me maybe, but I find it a bit messy. So after 9 o'clock, if you want to have a task, you're going to have to write it in yourself in this extra space which isn't intended for it. That's the appointments. If you have tasks that you want to put in, like it's somebody's birthday, or you have to put out the rubbish, or you have to go to the shop, or you have to send an invoice or whatever, you have exactly 1 line to do it in. They state you have 3 lines. You do not. You have, because 1 line could be used for holidays, and yes, people do work on holidays, and yes, people have to do things on holidays, so it's not like you need less space just because it's a holiday. And they suggest you use the 7 o'clock one. You just cross through the 7 and you put a to do, which assumes again that nobody's doing anything at 7 o'clock. This is not the way I work. So to me, they have made a basic structural error. We need more space here. The whole thing should be shifted down. We should have 3 or 4 empty lines above here, a couple of empty lines below, and this whole thing, this whole week task thing, which suits him, that's fine. It doesn't suit me, and I really honestly don't think it suits many people, but if it suits you, fine, let me know in the comments. I think this is horrible. I wish again, if he watches this, if anybody from X47 watches it, please take note. This is really doesn't work for everybody. Let me just check my notes to see what else. So I'm rant about this. Yep. Yes, this is this makes me laugh. So if you get towards the end of the book, you have to laugh. You normally this has nothing in it. As you get towards the end of the book, they have introduced a grey bar, which is there to tell you that you're reaching the end of the book. I'm sorry, I think this is so silly. So they're saying to you, hey, you're getting to the end of the book, you need to get a new one. And the same applies to this. Like people don't know that it's halfway through December and they're going to have to need a new book. Now, first of all, people know they're halfway through December. Secondly, they can see that they're getting to the end of the book. Thirdly, if you have a life where you do not need to write appointments 2 weeks ahead or more, you have a life that I don't recognize. So most people long before this stage, long before the middle of December, would have realized that they need to write in their next dental appointment, or they need to write down somebody else's birthday. I mean, I know that those of us in the planner community are normally busy with next year's layout already in August, September, October. I could not wait until the end of December before somebody said, oh look, I need to write an appointment for next year. It just simply doesn't happen. So this just makes me, I just get the impression that one of his important customers has said to me, you know what, I need reminding because I forgot this year, and they've put this in. But it just makes me laugh, because really, if you can't work out that halfway through December you need a new book and need a new diary for next year, there is really no hope. Let's be honest. Anyway, that made me laugh, which is a good thing. One thing you will notice from this, and let me try and get this, that the paper is extremely thin, again because they work on compactness, and you can see the printing from the page below through the paper. So if you, let me get this close, this is on this page. Why can't you see my finger? This is this page, and here you can see the printing coming through from the page below. So you have a shadow from the page below. Okay, I did it, but they have worked in the last few years to improve their paper quality to make it more fountain pen friendly. So on this there's not much space to do these tests, but I did a fountain pen test on the front of this one. These top two pens are the pens I would be using in this. Why don't you focus? That I will be using in this diary next year. These are some of the wetter pens that I won't be using, but I wanted to test them. And the paper passes with flying colors. You see there's no bleed through at all. You can see every piece of writing. There's the shadow comes through because it's very thin paper, because it's a compact system. But nothing bleeds through. Even the wettest pen I have, even this very wet pen, which takes ages to dry, doesn't bleed through. So in that respect, the paper is very good. So that's the my rant about this diary system, which I'm going to adopt for next year. And maybe if at the end of next year, when I've done it, I'll let you know how it works, if people are interested, because not many people watched the reviews of X47. As you know, it's not a system that is used very much outside Germany. But I hope if you are looking at this system, I hope you found this useful, and I'll talk to you next time.